Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So, apologies for the somewhat intermittent service over the last couple of weeks. Things have been really quite busy and kind of exhausting as well, so it's kind of knocked me off my flow a little bit. However, we have a little bit of news regarding the upcoming patch 11, which will be the next mainline patch for Fallout 76. So, let's jump in and have a look, shall we? So, what have we got? Inside the Vault, patch 11 preview. So, last week we mentioned the upcoming patch 11 would arrive early this month, but a few of the improvements we're planning to implement need a little more time to brew. As a result, we're currently planning to roll this update out in mid-July, so that's probably a couple of weeks away yet. The wait's obviously not what anybody wants, but on the other hand, if it means a better quality patch, I think we're all quite happy to twiddle our thumbs for a little bit longer. So that's definitely a good move. As always, full patch notes during maintenance on patch day, but here's a look at a few of the improvements you can expect with patch 11. So, highlights. Food and spoilage. It's no secret that the wasteland can be a harsh environment that leaves even the hardiest explorers feeling parched and peckish. We're making a pair of changes that will help you more easily get the food and drinks you've scrounged together before their expiration dates pass. Get to the food, okay, fair enough. After the update, raw food items and fluxes will last 50% longer before spoiling. Additionally, your food and drinks will no longer lose condition after you fast travel. So, I think a longer shelf life for food is probably a good thing. I think most people will be fine with that. I don't think the survival elements are particularly over the top, really, but to be honest, they act more as an inconvenience than anything else, so having a little bit more of a lifespan will just allow you to focus on the rest of the gameplay, which I think most people will be generally in favour of. I think I am. I didn't know your food actually spoiled further when you fast travel. It kind of makes sense, but it also kind of doesn't at the same time, because fast travelling doesn't advance time any, because how can it in a shared environment? But if your food deteriorates as if it did, I can kind of see why, in a sense of giving that survival element. It's almost like time has advanced for you, even though it hasn't in the game. But removing that particular feature, I think, is probably a good move. It's not really enhancing anybody's experience, I don't think, so kicking that into touch is probably not such a bad call. So here's one that I have somewhat mixed feelings on. Smoother path for new characters. Lots of dwellers have been leaving the vault for the first time over the past few weeks, and in patch 11 we're looking to make a few adjustments to help new and low-level characters have more gradual introductions to some of the game's mechanics and challenges. Okay, well, they should probably have done that like around about the time of E3, a month or so ago, but okay. For example, characters under level 25 will pay fewer caps when fast travelling. Okay, I think that's probably a good change. I think anybody will object to that. It's when you're at your most broke, so yeah, not a bad move. Those under level 15 will have a higher disease resistance. Yep, think everybody's going to be in favour of that one as well. It's, again, not particularly onerous thing if you're picking up diseases in the game, but it's just sort of a mild inconvenience more than anything. And we're replacing a number of early game challenge rewards with items and other supplies that will give these dwellers a better chance at survival. Now this I have more mixed feelings on. If it's just the rewards that you get every time you start a new character, there's certain ones you get for leaving the vault and so on and so forth, it makes sense to focus those more on a new character. But at the same time, that means you're not going to be earning atoms anymore. It's going to significantly slow down the rate at which you can earn them, sort of through the challenge system anyway. You still do it, obviously, but it's going to put more emphasis on longer and harder challenges, which is as a means to give you more to do and more challenges to engage with, or increase engagement with later challenges. That's probably not such a bad thing, and it'll reduce sort of the start a new character, run through the early game exploit to get the atoms that way thing, which is probably a good thing. On the other hand, it also kind of shifts people quicker in the direction of feeling like they have to pay for atoms if they want to get things out the atomic shop. And whilst I'm generally okay with that as a concept, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with microtransactions. They're not exactly cheap though. It is how Bethesda basically finance the main part of the game's development, so you know, the money does have to come from somewhere. At the same time, putting further pressure on people to move in that direction, to open their wallets a bit sooner, for want of a better way of putting it, is iffy ground to tread, I think. I don't think this is necessarily crossing a line or anything yet, but it's definitely something Bethesda would do well to keep an eye on, I think, there. So, another thing that I am not overly keen on, we are looking to reduce the creature difficulty in a few sub-regions within the Ash Heap, the Savage Divide and the Toxic Valley, so that dwellers who are stepping out of the forest for the first time have fewer encounters with higher level enemies. I'll have more details to share in the full patch notes, but these are a few of the larger changes we're planning to make to help characters better adapt to life in the Wasteland. I'm not generally in favour of anything that makes the game easier. Certainly when I first started playing 76, I was thoroughly enjoying the fact that there was a challenge coming back to the game that wasn't previously there. Now I've got the hang of it and got my experience up and I'm more familiar with the game's systems, I don't run into very many challenges very often. Most things are very manageable. If you run into something that's way over leveled, you know you're doing it and you'll go the other direction, or you take the challenge and go for it. But making the game easier is not something I'm generally in favour of. Generally, I'd say it's too easy anyway. So I'm not sure this is a good change. We're looking at specific sub-regions within the Ash Heap, Savage Divide and Toxic Valley. So it's not the whole of the area, just these, presumably the areas you go to first. It sounds like that'll include the area around Grafton in the Ash Heap. I'm not so sure about the Savage Divide, that's a bit more iffy. And with the Toxic... with the Ash Heap, it'll be more like the area around Charleston, Toxic Valley's Grafton. So I'd imagine the first couple of mines, the Fire Breathers questline, and the Charleston area would be likely to get easier. Which is, yeah, these are the areas you run into at a lower level, but they're not too challenging, I don't think. I don't find them particularly hard, I never did. And I am very reluctant to see anything that makes the game too easy. It takes away a significant point in playing if there's no challenge to it, to me. We'll have to see how it actually pans out, what they actually do, but not convinced this is the right direction to be going in on that one. On the other hand, something that definitely is the right direction to be going in, improved item descriptions. I think we're all down for that. Legendary items, crafting recipes and item mods are about to get more descriptive. Great. Fantastic. Definitely want that. Going forward, legendary items will now display their current attributes, all their current attributes rather than just the first one whenever you view those items in trade, vending or container menus. So let's see a picture of it here in the middle. As it currently stands, you'll see maybe 2 out of 3 of the attributes rather than the full set. You can see, you know, it might be an instigating or whatever, so you'll see that in the name, and then you'll see the third item on the list listed in the centre below the weapon's image, for example, like we have here. Being able to see it all right there in front of you is definitely a nice little quality of life change. Makes things a lot easier and will save you a lot of faffing around while you're in menus and stuff, which is always welcome. Crafting recipes and mods in the inspect, trade and vending container menus, being able to see what those do as well is particularly a good thing. Particularly when it comes to some of the weapon mods, some of the armor mods, and power armor I've noticed is a big one. That includes plans as well as recipes, then that will make it a lot easier to decide whether or not you actually want to buy what you're looking at. Particularly with the prices being quite high for some things, you can often have no idea if exactly what an item does until you've bought it, crafted it, and figured out whether or not it's actually what you want. So definitely happy to see that change coming in as well. That's definitely going to smooth that along. Power armor improvements. Now, this is an interesting one. In addition to fixing a number of bugs affecting power armor, great, we are implementing a couple of quality of life improvements. For example, after patch 11 you'll be able to activate stealth boys while wearing power armor. Hadn't realised you couldn't do that because I don't usually use stealth boys, but okay, yeah, it makes sense that you could do that, that's fine. We are also adding a new Enable Power Armor HUD option to the display settings that will allow you to decide whether you'd like to view the Power Armor heads-up display or the standard one when using Power Armor. As far as giving you options goes, yeah, that's fine. Personally, I think I'll stick with the Power Armor one. If you're in Power Armor, you might as well make a feature out of that. Me, personally, all the changes I'd like to see is make Power Armor less easy to use, more expensive to use, have fusion cores deplete quicker in power armor, that sort of thing, and make it harder to find, because right now there's nothing to stop you running around all day long in power armor. So I think it's far too overpowered at the moment, but as far as a little quality of life change goes, that's an agreeable one. I don't think it'll make any difference to me, but there we go. So, bulk junk auto-scrapping. I am so happy to see this. We've read your feedback that the scrap all junk option in workbenches shouldn't automatically scrap bulk components that characters have in their inventories. We agree, and while it took a little time to implement, we are happy to share that bulk junk items in your inventory will be safe from the scrap all junk option after patch 11. Fantastic. However, bulk junk will continue to be automatically scrapped as needed when you are crafting or repairing, as it should be. So yeah, it's a little bit of a bugbear of mine, that one. If you happen to have bulked items in your inventory and then you scrap a load of other junk you picked up, particularly using scrap all, it scraps the bulk stuff and you have to rebulk it all. So it's just a waste of materials really, and time too, which is a little frustrating. It's not exactly the end of the world, but it's definitely a nice thing to see changed. I'm very happy about that. And punch bowls are back. Crack open a fresh bottle of Xion because you once again be able to add your favourite alcohols to your punch bowl once patch 11 arrives. Invite a few friends over to your camp and let the party commence. So I'm not entirely sure what the problem was with this. I never really picked up a sort of a detailed answer on that. I don't know if they just didn't share one or if I missed it, but nonetheless, punch bowls are functioning the way they're supposed to again and will be coming back with patch 11, so probably in a couple of weeks, which is cool. So finally, we're planning to address another large wave of bugs with this update. From camp building errors, which I know one or two people will be very happy with, to Pioneer Scout challenges, which I think everybody will be happy with. Looping gunshot sound effects, yeah, that one's annoying, particularly with turrets. To UI bugs, we're tackling these issues and many more that have been reported to us by players in the Fallout 76 community. Thank you for continuing to share your feedback and bug reports with us. Please keep it coming. So, yeah, some interesting stuff. Mostly good, mostly quality of life stuff that they've talked about here. See what else they pass on to us over the next few weeks. Not too sure about some of the changes, particularly making the early game easier is definitely my least favourite thing here, I think. As I say, the challenge is what makes it fun with most games, and certainly games like this, so I'd rather see changes to sort of enemy AI to make them smarter and reduce the bullet sponginess of enemies, rather than just simply making things easier. Particularly as the game goes on, make it so that you can, but to be honest, any stage actually, really thinking about it, make it so that you have to be smart to beat enemies, not just have a lot of bullets. I don't think that bullet sponge effect is anybody's favourite thing. It's a difficult one to work around and to overcome, but I think focusing on that would be better than just simply making the game a bit easier for newer players. So at least the new players are the ones with the biggest challenges, and games having a challenge keeps you playing longer, at least in my opinion anyway. This might actually end up shooting themselves in the foot with this, so not the best change ever, I don't think. And obviously regarding the changes to the challenges, getting stuff that's useful to a new character is good. Losing out on the atoms, not so much. So it's something of a mixed feeling on that one, I think. But yeah, some good looking changes coming up in the next patch. Be interested to see what else they've got coming. They haven't actually mentioned nuclear winter here, though I'd imagine over the next few weeks we'll be hearing a few more detailed changes about that. They've only really just started getting into looking at what changes they're going to make there, so not surprised there aren't very many here today. Well, there are none here today. So interested to see what they've got lined up for that. And yeah, as always, still waiting to hear on what the next bit of new content is, which I'm glad they're not rushing. And they've recently implied in a couple of interviews, I should add, that the Vault raids will be coming out towards the end of the summer. Presumably because the instancing tech is taking a little bit longer to put together than perhaps they'd like. Rather they took the time with it, got it right. Especially as it's going to be such a fundamental feature going forward as well. So, but I'd like to see what else is lined up in the Nuclear Winter set of updates as well. If Vault raids are coming at the end, what are we getting in the meantime? Interested to see and start hearing about that. Hopefully that's coming in the next couple of weeks, so fingers crossed. So, I do hope you guys found that useful and informative. Sorry once again for the some kind of hiatus over the last week or so. But, hopefully we're back to action now, which should be good. If you did like the video, please do consider hitting those buttons for me. It's always very, very much appreciated. And if you're particularly enjoying the channel and the content I'm putting out, then please do consider becoming a channel member as well. The support is hugely appreciated. social media links, as always, down in the description if you want to catch up with me over there. For now, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will be speaking to you all very, very soon.